Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to have a great time with author John Kachuba. We're going to get into shapeshifters, monsters, and so much more. But first, we're going to say hello to each and every one of you. Why? Well, that's usually the way we start this show, including Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position. Kitty Caddywhack with a silver, race fan taking home the bronze medal tonight. Jake Truthseeker, how you doing? Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't get into a show about shapeshifters without being lubed up. So, Mel, thank you very much for getting at it tonight. Don't forget to give yourself a little shot as well. T-Bone, my man, how are you? As we continue on with our roll call, Robert Lamoth, Candace Helfrich, nice to see you. Frankie B. and Gear Jammers, thanks for coming on in. Thunderhead, how are you tonight? There she is. Mama Catherine. Mwah. I love you, Mama Catherine. Hope you have a great night, and I hope this sets up your weekend just perfectly. Just perfectly. Let's move on down as we say hello next to Lisa Smith and Necessary Dialogue. How are you? Deanna Ann looking lovely tonight. John Lamb is here. John Lamb will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Road Flare, how are you? Good to have you here as we scroll on down to say hello to Flubber Lane. And who do we have next? Well, it's Skip to Malou. Good morning to you over in Denmark. Ghost Fixter is here. Ghost Fixter will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Let's move it on down. We have Goblin. And who else do we have? Walter, good to have you here, buddy. And who else? Well, the only way we're going to find out is by scrolling on down. That's the truth of it all. So let's do that. And we're going to do it a little bit more. And a little bit more. Luscious Jules, how are you? Dunzel and Mark Wolf, nice to have you both here. Ashley, welcome to SOR Chat. It's been a while. Long time. Way long. Algaray over on Twitch. Very excited about John Kachuba. So excited. Did 1,400 skinwalker squats in just under 7 minutes. Legs are burning, but he's here for the show. That's all that matters. Good job, Algaray. Get your water break in. Mima Flowers, Undead Jed, Aussie Boss Tiger. Nice to see you all here. Thank you for coming on in. As we scroll on down and say hello to Vincent. And who else do we have? Terry Mills. We got Terry Mills here, everybody. JSCO, good to see you. Hi, Erica Stover and Pam Harris. Love you, ladies. Thank you for coming on in. T-Bone, my man, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, 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 very much. T-Bone. Lori Elizabeth, thank you for coming on in. And who else do we have here? Who else? Well, let's take a little peeky poo. Number 15 in your program tonight. Starting on defense from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. Caged on the inside. Good to have you here early. And we're caught up. Let's get the radio side going, everybody. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are warming on up for John Kachuba. We're going to be talking shapeshifters, monsters, all sorts of really cool legends. We are in our YouTube roll call right now, so just sit back, relax. So we say, hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. She always makes me do it 3 times. 3 times. I don't know why. Been like that for years. And who else do we have? Excuse me. We have nobody because we're caught up. We got through it. We did. Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Give us a thumbs up, or if you're listening on the podcast side, give us a follow, thumbs up, like, whatever it is. We just appreciate it. It helps us grow as well. Les Paul Holland, how are you? Bobbert Berkins, how are you? Throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's that really happening next. We're together. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Join us in 1 month's time, right here in the heart of British Columbia, for Caribou Con. British Columbia's only paranormal conference this year. Go to cariboucon.com, get your tickets right now. We have an amazing show tonight. We love it when we talk monsters and legends. Shapeshifters with author, researcher John Kachuba coming up here in just a little bit. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us for another creepy story. We'll follow that up with extra small Lee Strauss coming on in for the Q&A. So let's have some fun tonight. John Kachuba is an award-winning author of 12 books, as well as numerous articles, short stories, and poems. Holding advanced degrees in creative writing, John is taught through Ohio University and the Gotham Writers Workshop, and is a member of the Historical Novel Society and Horror Writers Association. His expertise has also taken him around the world, working with writers and students from Cambodia, Malta, Portugal, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, many, many places that he has literally advanced writing skills. Beyond writing, John has developed a deep fascination with the paranormal, folklore, supernatural traditions, and the strange story cultures that have been told for generations. If you want to check out his website, you can find all of his books at johnkachuba.com. johnkachuba.com. Let's bring him on in. John Kachuba, it's always good to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on again.
It's always fun when you were here because you were so knowledgeable and so easy for a radio host, because you know how to tell a good story. And you don't know what that means to us. You don't. Because in a long format, John, you have to be able to talk and paint a picture in words, and you do that beautifully.
I'm a writer. That's what I do.
John, why do you choose to do the topics that you do, from shapeshifters to horror to legends to supernatural events? Why do you do it that way?
I've always been fascinated by just, I guess, the unknown, but not just the unknown, like, what's the atomic weight of mercury, which I still don't know what that is, but more the unknown, like, what is out there besides us? You stand out at night, you look up at the stars, and you say, just wonder what's out there. You're at the graveside of somebody just passed away, and you wonder, what's that about? Where have they gone? I've always just really been interested in all that, and I don't know how to explain it too well, other than, I grew up in Connecticut in the U.S. here, which is, settled pretty long ago, and it has a lot of legends, a lot of folklore, a lot of indigenous population, people's lore, as well as other stories from the colonists that settled there. And I had all these ghost stories. I mean, I couldn't walk 50 yards outside my door without passing some old graveyard, and just wondering about what is that, and of course I have to go and read every gravestone. While my daughter would say, "Dad, I'll wait outside. You go into the cemetery." Okay, fine. So there's always that, and there was people that came into my life too, fortuitously, that helped with some of the writing or spurred me to write some things, especially in the paranormal vein. So, for instance, at one point in my life, I lived in Monroe, Connecticut, which is where Ed and Lorraine Warren lived. And I got to know them, visited them in their home, wrote about them in my book, Ghost Hunters, and had some experiences with them, and decided to write more about ghosts and paranormal events. But the other things that I write about, I mean, I write historical fiction, just straight historical fiction, just things that I'm interested in as I travel, as I talk to people. I'm kind of like I sort of consider myself like an encyclopedia that hasn't been filled yet,
That's a good analogy, my man. A great analogy. Is there a subject, and we're going to get into shapeshifters here momentarily,
Sure.
but is there a subject that you think is very underwritten about that people would just find fascinating? And if so, what is that?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I have to say that it may very well be shapeshifters that we're going to be talking about. I mean, when you talk about shapeshifters to people who are interested in the paranormal or whatever, they understand what you mean by that. But I haven't found a whole lot of books about shapeshifters. There's been shapeshifter characters in novels and things, but especially like werewolves, right? And vampires, especially vampires. But the kind of book that I write, which was basically just a broad look at shapeshifters in cultures all around the world, from ancient times up to today, I didn't really come across anything else. So I would say that might be an area that's just been under-researched. I mean, seriously under-researched and underwritten, if that's a word, about.
I think doppelgangers.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't think we talk enough about doppelgangers. And whether or not you're meant to see them, you're not meant to see them. There's a lot of legends and weird stuff about doppelgangers, John.
Yeah,
you ever looked into that?
That's true. I mean, there are. And I haven't really looked into that, but you're right. There's strange entities, and I don't know what's been out there. I haven't even checked on that.
Writing about these subjects, the beautiful part about it is the stories are never ending, John. Whether you're making up fictional stories and using your imagination, which is always a great, great thing, or whether you're actually hearing people who've had these highly strange encounters with monsters and legends and creatures that are not supposed to exist. What do you prefer, and what makes a better story? fiction or true stories?
That's a great question because, as you pointed out, I write fiction as well as nonfiction. Like my book Shapeshifters, A History, is nonfiction. But I've written a ghost novel called Dark Entry. I have another one that is not at this time published. I have not a child's, but a middle grade book about a haunted castle right here in the Cincinnati area. And I think what happens for me is a lot of what I hear about from people that I talk to, from my research, from presentations that I give, like at libraries and universities and that kind of thing. A lot of what I pick up in those areas frequently finds its way into a novel. I'll give you an example. My novel, Dark Entry, is about an actual location in Connecticut that is nicknamed Dark Entry. And it's rumored to be haunted. And when I wrote that story, I took what was, I don't want to use air quotes around facts, but I took the lore and the legends and the stories and what people have said they've experienced about that place. And I sort of wove all that stuff into the story, developing a plot, of course, that, wasn't necessarily there, but to put it all together and to make a novel out of it. And without the basis of what was actually at Dark Entry, and I actually went up to the site myself to investigate it and check it out. But without all that other material going into it, I would never have even thought to write a novel about that place. I wouldn't even known about that place probably. So it is a combination. I think any writer is impressed by what's really happening around him. In addition to his own imagination, you said imagination, that's key. But I think your imagination is always spurred by other factors, But any kind of artist, not just a writer, musicians, artists, visual artists, anything.
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Is it about the audience anymore? Because so many people, John, don't read anymore, especially in the younger generations. They've forgotten how good a good book can be. How do you keep a newer audience or a younger audience captivated with writing skills and stories?
That is a little tricky because everybody today, you go out into the public anywhere, get on a train, get on a bus, go to a stadium, whatever, at a classroom, and everybody has their nose glued to their cell phone, right? What you're getting are all these little 30-second clips, which I got to say, they're amazing. I'm a victim. I look at TikTok and Instagram and say, wow, it's incredible. Never realizing now, of course, that a lot of what I'm looking at isn't even real. It's AI and all this. So it is difficult to keep readers motivated. But the good news is that the statistics that have been out recently show that bookstores are on the increase, especially independent bookstores. That book sales are up, where everybody thought they'd be down by now, but they're not. They're actually advancing. And that readers, younger readers especially, are increasing in number over what they've been the last couple of years. So there is kind of this reversal happening now. I don't know what to attribute it to, unless maybe people are getting so used to just keeping their nose on a little tiny page on their cell phone. They say, well, I can keep my nose on a printed page maybe just as well. I don't know.
John, when you look at these monsters that are out there and you write about them, because I know you're a dogged researcher.
Oh yeah.
When you write about whether it's, shapeshifters or paranormal stories or cryptid encounters, you name it, do you sit back with all your research and you just sit back and sometimes lean in your chair and think, man, is any of this really real? Are people really having these type of encounters with these creatures that shouldn't exist?
But maybe do, right? So two things. My first reaction is, as you say, I'm kind of a skeptic. I am a skeptic. And I say, this seems so otherworldly, so unreal, so impossible. However, when I talk to people, and my first 5 books or so were about ghosts primarily. And I did a lot of public speaking. And in that realm, there was a lot of give and take. So people would come up to me and tell me their experiences after my presentation and say, hey, I went to this house and it was haunted and I did this. And I would go out myself and have experiences. I was never one to say to anybody relative to their experience, you're full of it. That didn't happen. It couldn't have happened. I can't say that, right? All I can say is, well, man, you experienced something, and what you experienced seems very unusual, and it seems out of the normal, which is what paranormal means, out of the normal. And I can't necessarily explain it. You say that you think it's a ghost, you think it's a shapeshifter, or whatever. I wasn't there, but I do believe that you experienced something. So that's not weaseling out of it, out of an answer, because I don't know what is really out there or not out there. None of us do. But I'm open to the suggestion that there are things, as Hamlet said, greater in this universe than, more things in heaven and hell than we know. So roughly, that may not, Hamlet, I may have screwed up Hamlet a little bit there, but that was a close paraphrase.
I don't think anybody noticed.
Yeah,
well. I think you were the only one who noticed. So, is what it is, my friend. Is what it is. John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. You like a little bit more of the darker and the macabre style of the monsters and legends. Why do you go down a little bit of a darker horror path?
I think because I believe that there is a dark side in all of us. We're animals. We have animal instincts. We're capable of tremendous good. We're capable of tremendous bad, tremendous evil. Just look at the world today and some of the things that are going on. And I'm sure every person since time began can say the same thing. Well, look at the world, looks going. We don't seem to learn anything, which tells me something else. That we have a tendency for evil. We have a tendency for the dark side. So I'm interested not in going to the dark side, but in exploring why that is, and why it is that our better nature, some people call it our better angels, why that doesn't dominate all the time. I mean, it certainly does for some people. I'm not saying it doesn't. But there are people who can't seem to control the other side. And I'm fascinated by that. I talk a little bit about that in Shapeshifters in terms of like serial killers and other people like that who, to my mind, have got to be sort of shape-shifting, not physically, but mentally, to put themselves in a different place where they're capable of, just for the heck of it, killing dozens of people. How do you do that? So yeah, I guess I do tend to go to the darker side to look at that. And I never really thought of myself as a darker person, though, Dave. But I mean,
everybody's allowed to have imagination, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's allowed to have curiosity. I think that's a big thing. I think for the majority of us listening here, the majority of us would you ever think of harming anybody, but we seem to be fascinated by subjects like serial killers, or unsolved mysteries that are out there. It is human nature.
Oh yeah. Which is part of why I think the shapeshifter character has had such an appeal to almost every culture in the world. has at least one, if not several, kinds of shapeshifter characters in its folklore, its mythology, its religion. And I think a lot of that is because the shapeshifter allows you to kind of, live vicariously on the wild side, on the dark side, because he can do whatever he wants. He can turn into anything. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, prime example. This stoic, humanitarian, Christian, honest, upright physician, a doctor, person who helps people, still had this underlying desire, kind of this urge to experience what it would be like if he could throw off all the bonds of his society, law, religion, morality, all the things that made him who he was, just throw them all off and then go running through the woods at night screaming like a wolf or whatever. What would that be like? Well, it'd be like Mr. Hyde, which was the alter ego that he developed. And it wasn't any fun for him. In fact, Mr. Hyde takes over and Jekyll kills himself as a result. So that's pretty extreme. But I do think that those kinds of characters in literature, in movies, in mythology, whatever, are sort of learning examples for us. And also, as I said, giving us a chance to kind of blow off steam because we can do it vicariously. We can dress up in Halloween as some slasher, knowing that we're not ever going to lift a knife to anybody. But at Halloween, oh yeah.
Out of all the unsolved mysteries that are out there, what is your favorite? What is your favorite case? I would say mine, just to kind of give you an example, would be the legend or the conspiracy, however you want to look at it, of the smiley face killers.
I don't know what the smiley face killers are. what
oh my, you need to look into this one. Allegedly, a bunch of men have gone missing. Okay. And when their bodies are found, around where they are found, there happens to be a smiley face, either spray painted onto a wall or maybe a smiley face sticker or a drawing from felt pen or something about smiley faces. Now, a lot of people don't believe that. They think it's just coincidence because the bodies are found in areas where there's a lot of graffiti. Mm-hmm. But there are people out there who believe that there is this giant gang of serial killer people that go by the smiley face killers.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a new one on me. But, I think about, as you say that, I think of, do you remember the Zodiac killer?
Yes.
Back in the West Coast? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he would leave some kind of a symbol, like a Zodiac sign or something or whatever. I think that's how he got his nickname, is the Zodiac Killer, if I'm not mistaken. But I think for me, I'm more intrigued by some of the things that are monumental, like the pyramids or some of these ancient structures of everything that we know are occurring, like in Mayan civilizations or Aztec or Egyptian or whatever. But the engineering and all, it just seems so incredible that it could have been done thousands of years ago without the use of, heavy lifting equipment, without cranes, without, without anything, guys rolling boulders, I'm fascinated by that all the time. And for me, that still remains an unsolved mystery. Like, how did this happen? And did it really happen, as archaeologists kind of say? Well, they just piled up big rocks. Well, yeah, but they're really big rocks.
Right?
That's a lot of piling up. So, and I know
I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Author and researcher John Kachuba is back on Spaced Out Radio. You can go to his website, johnkachuba.com. You can pick up any of his dozen books that are there. Great subject matter to add to your library. When we return, Shapeshifters. What are they? Are they real? We'll find out next. All right, my man, we are clear. Good start.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I love the way you present. It just makes my job very easy.
Well, I hope my voice holds out. I've been on some meds that are shredding my voice here. So,
Do you still go out in the field doing paranormal research?
not as much anymore. I've kind of moved into just doing more research on shapeshifters and other areas, things like that, rather than going out to like investing paranormal sites. I'm getting too old for that. Really.
I still do my my ghost tour at our local heritage site. I took a year off last year.
Okay.
But I'll be honest with you, the whole ghost thing, as much as I love the topic, it doesn't interest me as much as the rush you get from being in an area where there's cryptids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where
I haven't gotten into the cryptid thing so much. I mean, we have one 20 minutes north here. We have the Loveland Frog, which I don't know if you Frogman. We have a Frogman festival every May up there, which
You're in Ohio. You have a festival for everything there.
Well, that's true. We don't have a corn festival because we probably do, actually. We have a Twins festival in Twinsburg, Ohio. Makes sense.
That would make sense.
I don't know about this Parabrucon. I've never heard of that.
We're just starting it.
Okay.
Yeah. We're just starting it. No, Ashley, not even in an asylum. I have an area out here. My audience has heard me talk about it. It's like a little mini Skinwalker ranch. So I get a little bit of everything when we're there. Haven't had aliens in a while, but the ghosts and the Bigfoot are usually there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Jaren's Carter is in the chat room, everybody. Jaren's Carter. Yeah. And that's not even the scary part of the creatures being there. It's the other animals that could be there that is kind of scary. Yes, Dave still collects beards. Where are my beards? My beards aren't in the studio right now. They're not there. Yes, I collect beards. I'll get it back up here. We got about just under 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Vanilla Ice Magey. I got something real strange going on in my gifting site right now where my Bigfoot are. Something went in there. It's a week I didn't have my trail cameras up. Something went in there. Messed everything up. See how it is tomorrow night.
What did the camera show?
Well, we pulled the trail cameras because the forest fire was heading that way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We went back last week. My gifting site was torn apart. So I got a crazy squirrel there. I don't know if it's crazy squirrel or whether it's something else. All right, we're coming back in about 35 seconds. Thank you, T-Bone, for our lone super chat tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And about 25 seconds. That'll be good. And don't forget, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Helps with our algorithms. It does. I'm coming back in 10 seconds. This is the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. I'm Dave Scott, the host of this lovely nightly show. Our guest, John Kachuba, author extraordinaire, is with us as well. But before we bring John back in to talk about Shapeshifters, I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. JohnKachuba.com is his website, where you can find all of John's books hanging on out there, including a great series called The Bottle Conjurer, Shapeshifters. What are they, John? What's a good shapeshifter?
A good shapeshifter? Out of all the shapeshifters, I still like the werewolf. Kind of the classic shapeshifter. The guy who can just roll out of bed at the full moon and turn into a wolf. I kind of like that. There's something about the canine connection, I think, is what attracts me. I've always had dogs. I've had dogs as a kid. I got a dog now who's sleeping outside my studio door here right now. But, wolves they're fantastic animals, right? They're strong, they're powerful, they're cunning, they're loyal to their tribe and everything else. They're actually pretty amazing animals. So if you're going to be a shapeshifter, if you're going to be anything, I think you turn to a wolf. And a werewolf. Why not be a werewolf? Why not be a killing machine? Why not? Right? But we're going to the dark side. So, I don't see much sense in shapeshifting into like a chihuahua.
Be my little 4-pound chihuahua.
Yeah, do you ever hear of anybody saying, "Oh yeah, my brother changed into a chihuahua"? No, never. Right. So, but I do like the werewolf. But so if your audience is totally ignorant of this, and I'm sure they're not, a shapeshifter is just a person who has the ability at will to change into an animal. Any animal, another person, or sometimes even an inanimate object. And they can make that change at will and then transform back at will. As I started saying earlier before, the idea of a shapeshifter is it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Every country in the world has something,
When I look at shapeshifters, I think skinwalkers, I think wendigos,
Sure.
I think changelings, I think, like you said, werewolves. These are creatures that are just absolutely off the mark. And we look at them as being evil.
Right. Well, it's interesting. When your show opens up, there's that Ronald Reagan quote where he says, again, I'm going to try to paraphrase, not Shakespeare, but Reagan, where he says, we'd all, our differences would disappear, we'd all unite and everything else if there was an alien invasion, right? And we would, but that's again assuming that aliens are always evil. I mean, where's the assumption to that? And it's the same thing with shapeshifters. But if you actually look at the folklore, like I've done some of the research, there's a lot of examples in different countries of shapeshifters that are not evil. There are people that can shapeshift into, this is especially in some Italian folklore, people that can shapeshift into fairies. And the fairies are good. They bring good things to people. They help, the poor people. You mentioned changelings, and changelings are not necessarily bad. They shouldn't be messing around changelings, but they're not terrible. Leprechauns are shapeshifters as well, and so there's a lot of shapeshifters that actually are not necessarily evil killing machines. But we don't like those as much because they're not killing machines. We're more interested in the ones that are, the dark ones, the deep ones, the dangerous ones. Human nature. I understand that.
What's the best werewolf story you've ever heard?
This werewolf story? I can tell you that, I'm trying to think of the title. There's an author in Hard Writers Association named Stephen Graham Jones. And he wrote a novel about werewolves, and it's something dogs. I don't know what's called, Strange Dogs or something like that. But this was great because it's a story based on, like I write too, based on research. But these werewolves were interesting in the sense that they didn't fight their lycanthropy, which is, the term for becoming a werewolf. They knew they were werewolves. They embraced it. Teenagers couldn't wait until they were old enough to start growing hair on their paws, on their hands, or whatever. And it's a really great story. But if you're talking about just a short story about werewolves, I still like what happened in France in the 18th century in Gévaudan, where there was this monstrous canine something they nicknamed it the Beast of Gévaudan. And this thing went around little villages in Provence in France, and it would just tear people apart. It killed over, I think they said something like 102 people over like a 5-year period or something. And they had hunters come out to try to get it. The king, Louis, whatever Louis was at that point, sent out some soldiers, a detachment of soldiers to try to catch this thing and kill it. And they could never do that. They never found it. But then this local Frenchman, just a local guy who was a pretty astute hunter, went out and apparently did make contact with the beast and shot it. An interesting thing is when he shot it, he was surprised. He went to the corpse and he looked at it and he was shocked because to his mind, what he saw was, rather than seeing paws, he said it was a large dog-like animal. But instead of having paws, he said it looked more like it had fingers and toes, right? Which, we know dogs don't have fingers and toes. You have toe pads, but they have paws, right? And then he said something about the eyes were, I forgot exactly what he said. He wrote this in a diary that he kept. He said something about the eyes were more canted forward, like ours are, which again is not animal. Animals more to the side, right? So wolf is pretty straightforward. But it was amazing. What was even more amazing was that the corpse vanished. Nobody knew what happened to it. So you have this evidence of over 100 people dead. I mean, this is, it's all verified. It's recorded. I went to France. I went to Provence. I visited some of these villages. And in many of them, there were little memorials set up for people who were either victims of the beast, or in one of them, it's very cool. It's a young woman and she's got like not a spear, it's like a long shovel, or maybe it's a hoe or something. And there's this wolf like rearing up, and she's jamming it like right in the ribs. And she fought the beast off. And there's a museum there too. So that's kind of a long-winded story because there's a lot involved in it. But I think it's a fascinating story that there was something roaming the countryside of France, very rural area, very wooded, that to this day, they don't know what it was, but they know it was there. I mean, the evidence is the graves of the people that it killed and the records in all the towns and villages that said what happened.
Do you think there are any current werewolf type stories that are out there, or do you think there are humans walking around that can shapeshift into werewolves?
So the short answer is no. I don't know about this. There may be stories, but I don't. It's not in my wheelhouse, as they say. I hate that term, in my wheelhouse. I don't know why I said that, but I find it hard to believe that a human being could change into, quite frankly, anything. Having said that, as I said earlier, I talked about serial killers, right? In my book, Shapeshifters, I have a section talking about people that were suffering from lycanthropy, which was a mental disorder, which they believed they were werewolves. And they believed they were werewolves, but also acted out as werewolves. So again, going back to like the 18th century and a couple in the 17th century, mostly in France, some in Germany, some of these people would go out and they'd waylay people on the road, and they attack them literally with their hands and kill them and rip them apart like a wolf would do. Some of them were actually even caught in the act of like eviscerating their victims or eating their victims. And these are human beings. I mean, you look at it, it's not a wolf. You're looking at a human being doing this to another human being. So what is that? I mean, there's a shift there, man, right? I mean, it may not be the typical Hollywood werewolf movie where the guy's got, hair all over him and claws and everything else, but for all practical purposes, he's a werewolf. He said he's a werewolf, and he sure acted out. These people were all locked up. Actually, in the early times, most of them were executed because werewolfery was a crime against the church. So most of them had, burned at the stake. But as people got a little bit more intelligent and understood things, they would lock these folks up. But even in the mental institutions, they would still be that way. And some of the cases are fairly recent, like even early 1900s. There are still some people that are records of people that were suffering from lycanthropy, believed they were werewolves, would be howling around, walking on all fours in their cell, in their room. So, as I said, the no was the short answer. This was a longer answer. But so I guess there's that possibility of internal shifting, and I still call that a shapeshifter.
What about people who claim to see these dogman-like creatures? These 7 to 8 foot werewolf-like creatures, except they're not wearing ripped jeans and a ripped plaid shirt. Just curious. What do you think of those then?
Well, yeah. So this goes again to experience, right? I mean, people are out there. I certainly heard about the reports of dogmen. I don't know what to say about that other than they have had an experience and they say they have seen that, but I don't know what to make of that. That would be true of almost any shapeshifting episode. I mean, again, in my book, I have a lot of examples where people come forward and say, and some of them they're coming from like reports in the New York Times. They're coming from government reports, different other newspapers, where within their stories about people having episodes where they say they are having encounters with shapeshifters. They're coming from Africa, wherever, where they've seen somebody transform into something and then maybe transform back. And frankly, I don't know what to make of that, because the story gets credence by being put in something like the New York Times, right? And we kind of respect that as a legitimate outlet, Does that mean that it was still a shapeshifter, or was there something else going on? Were all the people delusional in some way, or mass hysteria? Or I don't know. But I become, as I'm becoming now, kind of speechless with that, because I don't know how to explain that.
Well, let me ask you this way. Do you think there is any relation between the two? I realize that's a hypothetical question, John, but it always makes me wonder if there is more than what we truly know.
Sure. And I guess I'm willing to say that, since people are having experiences like that, and I, John, don't know the nature of that experience, it doesn't mean that their experience is not true. So they may very well be seeing a 7 or 8 foot guy with a dog head, and if that's the case, then that kind of shakes up a lot of our worldview, doesn't it? I mean, we need to understand what that is. It's sort of like Bigfoot. A lot of people have seen Bigfoot. A lot of people haven't seen Bigfoot. A lot of people don't believe in Bigfoot. A lot of people say, I've seen it. I know. And a lot of people say to them, yeah, right. But, it's out there. So I think you're right, Dave. I mean, I'm not ruling anything out. I do think that there's, possibility of other things that we just don't know yet.
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. And I want to ask you a couple more questions about these shapeshifters. Okay, because I'm just enthralled with them. They go in so many different angles. Where did the earliest stories of this legend come from? Where did they originate from?
It's hard to say where they originated from, but one of the earliest depictions of a shapeshifter was found on a cave painting in France that archaeologists have dated back to the Neolithic period. So we're talking about really old. And that's actually like in the first page of my book. As soon as you open it up, you can see it. And what it shows is a deer, or probably a deer, maybe an elk, we don't know, but an antlered, hoofed animal standing up on its hind legs, with the forearms like they're kind of going out. And the face is turned directly to the viewer. But when you look at it closely, it's got the antlers and all that stuff in the tail and everything. But when you look at it closely, again, looking at the feet and the hands, what you notice is that, as I mentioned before, you don't see hooves. You see what look like there's, like 4 or 5, it's like fingers or toes. And then the face, the eyes are definitely, bicameral, where they're like right dead center. And, we know that deer and animals like that don't really have them dead center like we do. So what anthropologists believe is that that's a depiction of a shaman going through a transformation from a person into a deer. And you say, well, okay. And the idea was that they think it was connected to rituals, hunter rituals. So what they think may have been going on was that the shaman would get together in the cave, he'd get all the hunters together, and they'd ingest some natural hallucinogen from the ground, from the earth, magic mushrooms or whatever else they had, They'd get into a state. They'd work themselves up into a trance state. And he'd basically, saying, hey, we're deer, and wearing the pelt and everything else. And these guys would go out wearing deer pelts and all that and believing they were deer. Because if they were deer and acting like deer, then they can get pretty close to the deer herd and then, kill them. So ancient. But then when you get to more classical times, like ancient Greece and ancient Rome and all, their mythology is loaded with shapeshifters, right? I mean, Zeus and Jupiter and all these people, they're almost all shapeshifters, especially Zeus, who is a champion shapeshifter. So it's hard to say. I don't think there's one universal source that we can point to and say, well, this is it. This is where all the world's shapeshifters come from. It's like saying, where did mankind come from? We think right now, Central Africa. Yeah, that's where they all came from. But there's other people that are saying, yeah, but we think maybe also South America. We also think maybe Siberia. So who knows?
3.5 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. As we kind of look at these shapeshifters, are they to be believed, or do you believe that they are literally making physical transformations, or is the change spiritual or perceptual?
Well, that's what I say. I mean, the ones that we are enamored of, that you see in the movies and everything and read about in novels and see in mythology are definitely making physical transformations. But I also think that the internal, so I made a distinction between what I called external and internal shapeshifting. And the external ones were, I think that should be obvious, but the ones that you would see change, So when you watch an old Lon Chaney movie or anything like that, and you see, or Dracula, Bela Lugosi, and you see these changes, yeah, that's external. But I'm actually more interested in the other side, because I think that is more reliable and more interesting, because that happens. That deals with your mind. It's well, you said spiritual. I think it could be spiritual as well, but I think it's more kind of a psychological, mental thing that happens, that you can put yourself in a state where you certainly believe you are something else and act out that way. Like the example I just gave. But I think they're all, to my mind, they're all shapeshifters. And that's what the book kind of tries to get across, the idea of shapeshifting or transformation as much larger than just the physical, Hollywood kind of stuff.
That's really what it comes down to, is I think Hollywood has made a major push towards having, these grandiose stories about shapeshifters, whether it's owls changing to aliens, whether it's people changing into werewolves or mermaids or whatever it may be. I mean,
Sure.
It makes me wonder if there is a lick of truth to it, John, because even though it's a legend and it's just a story time, maybe fictional, there always seems to be a little valid truth to these subjects. Don't you think?
Well, I think the truth is that we like the shapeshifter character, whether it's a mermaid, werewolf, whatever, for some of the reasons that we already discussed, because it's something we can attach ourselves to. In some ways, we can say, oh man, I'd love to be that. I'm not that strong. Oh, I'd love to be Superman. Well, you shapeshift into Superman or whatever. So I really think that's the attraction to all of it, because there are so many different kinds. And you're right. You have, Little Mermaid, you have action heroes, you have all kinds of stuff. There's not one character. So I'm thinking that it allows us to pick and choose, really, what shapeshifter we feel we need to identify with. And I know you're saying, well, yeah, but is there something still real behind that? I don't know.
We'll get into that in the next hour. How about that? We got
That's fine.
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are hanging on out, talking shapeshifters. JohnKachuba.com is his website. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, John, we're clear. We're just going to play a video. We got about 5.5 minutes, okay?
Good. I can take a break and get some water.
Absolutely. Here we go.
There.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit CaribouCon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
with 5 explorable Gold Rush-era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten. The 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
There we go. All right, we are back. And a big thank you tonight so far to T-Bone, Scouse, and Claudette for the super chats. We greatly appreciate it. Anybody jump in late here? Take a little look. Oh, I think we are caught up. Good job, everybody. Whistling Mike, how are you? Here we go, everybody. Let's kick off hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone taking us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Varsal. Varsal is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in our guest, author, researcher, John Kachuba. JohnKachuba.com is his website. You can find all of his books there, which I highly recommend. Good for your libraries, and you can also check out his other writings as well. John, thank you so much for being here to talk Shapeshifters tonight.
My pleasure, Dave. As always, thanks.
As we move forward on the Shapeshifters, you know, there are people out there who believe they have seen these types of creatures that just seem to change or appear, that disappear much more differently than, say, a paranormal ghost or something. I'm thinking skinwalkers here. I mean, that is probably a big one in the shapeshifter type community. I mean, have you looked into that?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, again, you know, I've tried to do kind of a broad range of shapeshifting, but here in the southwest of the U.S., you know, skinwalkers are kind of a common thing that you hear among the indigenous folks in Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, that kind of thing. They talk about it a lot. And they talk about them with, what would I say? Certainly respect, because they are very fearful of skinwalkers and they believe that they're there. I don't know about experiences that they may have had with them, because most people don't want to talk about experiences with skinwalkers. If the bottom line is that with them, they believe that the skinwalkers are dangerous and usually out for some malicious intention, usually revenge. Like you kind of hire, you almost hire a skinwalker. You hire like a shaman who you know is a skinwalker to go after somebody you don't like, and they will. So that's at least kind of the model that we hear down here in the southwest part of the U.S. You don't hear about skinwalkers so much in the United States, much out of that region. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of a localized thing here. Um, but that kind of a creature has been in other cultures as well, too, though. So,
Skinwalkers are said to be medicine men who've chosen the dark side over the good of
right.
helping people for the chance at eternal life. We've heard people say that it switches from a deer to a human to a rabbit to a bird to something more menacing. I mean, it sounds so unbelievable, John, yet, many, especially First Nations cultures, take this as a warning that you have to be careful with who you deal with and the powers that Mother Nature and the phenomena in general seem to hide from us humans on a daily basis.
Well, Dave, you're onto something when you say take it as a warning, because I think a lot of the shapeshifter stories, no matter what type of shapeshifter it is, and no matter what culture it comes from, are, I believe, designed to be warnings. Like there are so many water creatures. So I'm half Ukrainian, and there's a lot of sort of water creatures that are not very good. And if you go near the water, they're liable to grab you and pull you in. There's a lot of those in Japan. I was in Thailand for a while, and a couple of months. And I remember my wife and I were staying at a college dorm. She was on a Fulbright scholarship at this university. So we were there, and there was this little bridge, just a little footbridge that went over a little stream. No big deal. And we were told by professors at the university not to go over that bridge, not to cross that bridge at night. We said, well, why wouldn't we cross that bridge at night? Because if you do, something is liable to grab you, especially if you look into the water and make like eye contact. It's going to grab you and pull you in, right? So I do believe that a lot of what shapeshifter stories are about, in addition to being something that we can, as we said in the last hour, kind of attach ourselves to vicariously, I do believe there are ways of teaching behavior to children, to people, to how you deal with your society, how you deal with nature. Don't go play near the water, kids. You say there's monsters that can get you. Well, yeah, the monster could be a crocodile, but if the kid doesn't buy that, you say, well, there's something going to grab you and pull you under the water. I mean, how often do people in Western civilization tell their kids about a boogeyman? Well, it's going to get you. What does that even mean? What is that? Who is that? But it's a lesson that if you do this, something is going to happen. Krampus, I love that character around Christmas time in Germany, right? If you're not a good little boy or girl, it's going to come get you. So I think the shapeshifter serves that same kind of purpose too. The stories that they're life lessons. Like, this is how you live your life. Whatever it might be, but there's different lessons that you can get from that. So yeah, I think you're right exactly on that.
As you were talking, I was thinking like with mermaids, where these lovely mermaids would go serenade people on boats. And then when they lured them into the water, they would shapeshift and become absolute killers of these shipping crews. I mean, when we look at things like that, I mean, that's kind of an eerie thought. It might be folklore, but people claim to have seen mermaids all around the world, in colder climates, in warmer climates, in Caribbean climates, everywhere.
Right. And and often, to be the skeptic here, they turn out to be walrus or something else that, but if you've been at sea for, months at a time, you forget what a woman looks like. And you say, hey, there's a mermaid. When you come back and say, that was a walrus? Okay. But there is that going on too. Yeah.
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Question for you. What are the most commonly reported forms of shapeshifters? Like what form do they take?
Most commonly form. I think what I have found. Okay, so in my book, I have a chapter specifically dedicated to werewolves and a chapter specifically dedicated to vampires. And the other ones I talk about just in different ways, but these two shapeshifters have their own chapter. And the reason for that is because those are by far the most popular and the ones that there are more stories about and more literature about and more lore about, and people say they've experienced or seen or whatever. So, it's a toss-up probably, but your household werewolf and vampire are probably the most common ones, I would think.
I often wonder about the danger of it all. I know we've kind of tapped on that already in this show, but do you find that, a lot of these shapeshifters will mimic and try and lure people to areas? It said skinwalkers do this, wendigos do this, many others will try and lure people into areas that they think is peaceful or that they're trying to help, maybe a lost child or somebody in the forest. But when you get there, my goodness, it's something completely different.
Yeah, there's a lot like that. I mean, the ones you mentioned, again, from Eastern Europe, there's something called a leshy, which is a forest shapeshifter that will actually sort of call out names and all that stuff to people, like oh, there's somebody out there, and so you follow a path, and it will lead you down different paths, and keep changing the path for you, and you follow the voice, and you're totally lost in the woods after a while, and then it comes out and kills you, so when you can't get back, there's a lot of that. There's trying to think in Japan. Japan has something called a kappa, Kappa, which is a weird little dude. It looks like a frog, but it has like a shallow depression in its head in which it carries water. Why? I don't know. Nobody's ever been able to explain to me why he carries a little shallow depression of water on his head, but he does. But they will do things that they will lure people to the water by, again, sort of mimicking human voice, like maybe a child in distress, like you say, maybe drowning or something like that. And then once they're there, they grab a hold of them, pull them into the water, and kill them. So, yeah, there are, again, we're talking about the really dark side of shapeshifting, and there are shapeshifters that certainly use whatever ability they have to. That's the idea of being a shapeshifter, is that you can change yourself so that you can appear some other way, right, to your victim. So whether it's by calling out a name, suddenly you have a human voice, and you can call, "Hey, Dave, over here by the tree," or whatever. Right. That's what that's what the evil, bad shapeshifters in shapeshifter lore do. That's their nature, But again, that is a wide range of shapeshifters, and they're not all like that. But
it is a little freaky at times. Let's get to an audience question here, because they are starting to build on up. Let's start off with Ashley here. Would you consider shape-shifting being a curse?
Well, it's interesting. If you look at The Wolfman, the Lon Chaney movie back in 1930 something, there was some gypsy poem or something that it starts off, and it says, you're cursed by the full moon or whatever. I don't remember exactly the words. And so this poor guy, when the full moon is out, is cursed. He changes into a werewolf against his will. Well, yeah, so that's a curse for sure. And in a lot of the old classic Greek and Roman mythology, the gods would curse somebody by changing them into something. Frequently, they it's a curse, but at the same time, sometimes saving somebody. There's a story about, I forgot the Greek names here, but it was a Greek woman who was being pursued by one of the gods for not very good purposes. And one of her protector gods saw that was happening. So he changed her into a tree, like just like that. Now you're a tree. Well, okay. So she was cursed, but also her life was saved, but now she's a tree. But when you look at it's kind of crazy. But when you look at some of the more modern interpretations of shapeshifters, and especially when you look at some of the novels that are out and the movies that are out, shapeshifting is not a curse. It's something that is, well, I mentioned Stephen Graham Jones before, and if Stephen's ever out there listening to this program, he can let you know and tell you, the werewolves, these family, it's a genetic trait. There are werewolves, and they don't find it a curse at all. They find that it is who they are, and they don't fight it. They don't rail against it. It's their nature. And they don't become a werewolf when the full moon is out. They become a werewolf once they kind of grow into their powers, like a teen becoming mature. At that point, they can change at will, whenever they want to. And that's more typical of kind of the stories today, a shapeshifter that can change at will. So it's not a curse. If you have that power and that ability, you're using it. There was a guy in Star Trek, I think, if anybody's out there, I think his name was Odo, and maybe your audience will know better than I didn't watch a whole lot of that. But he was a human being all the time in a little spacesuit running around on this ship. What was it? Enterprise, I guess, right? But he was a shapeshifter. And it wasn't a curse. It was a blessing. I remember one episode where there was some door that got sealed shut, and his colleagues were on the other side and they couldn't get out, and there was some monster going to get him or something. And so he just literally dissolved into like a liquid, like silvery liquid, like mercury or something, and slid under the door and was able to come up on the other side and open it because he had the key from the other side or something, and then go back and they save him and then slam the door again. So that's not a curse. It's a blessing, right? He said, wow, you're a hero because you saved our life by changing into molten something.
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Let's get to another question from our audience. We've got about 6 minutes to go here before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. T-Bone is asking, John, what about mimics?
I'm not sure what that means by a mimic. I mean, I know, is that can you use a little more definition? I mean, people mimic each other. Is that, I don't know.
So best of my knowledge, they're kind of like folkloric and entities that believe to deceive humans by perfectly copying voices, sounds, or physical appearances of loved ones, pets, or familiar figures.
Okay. Well, I think that's the same. I mean, I think that would be a shapeshifter as well, simply being able to, change to a human voice, even as we discussed a few minutes ago. I think I would say they're kind of synonymous with being a shapeshifter. I'm not seeing much different based on that definition.
Why not? Why not? Let's go to this question. Is the monster in the closet legend real? I like this question. Did you watch Monsters, Inc. from Pixar? Of course it is.
Right. Well, I got my closet is right next door here, and I'm not about to open it right now to find out. So you have to tune in next week. I don't know. Is the monster in the closet legend real? Yeah, I agree. Of course it is.
What makes you think it's real that there's monsters in our closet or even under our bed?
When I was a kid, like many other kids, before I went to bed, I got on my hands and knees. I looked under the bed. I opened my closet while my parents were standing there and looked in, moved stuff around, closed the door again, then looked behind my bedroom door just to make extra sure. So they were real for a while until I got older.
I still make sure that my feet do not leave the edge of my bed.
Do you hang your arm off the side?
No. I'll tell you one story one night. John, sometimes I get some weird things that happen. And this is going back probably, 8, 9 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. I was lying in bed. It was after the show. I was just starting to go into a deep sleep. I had the most comfortable position on my bed and I was tired. And then all of a sudden, as I'm laying on my stomach, I felt my right leg start to get lifted into the air. It wasn't me raising it. It was being lifted. And I remember saying to whatever it was, because I didn't want to look, I remember saying, do you mind? Not right now. I'm tired. And all of a sudden, it felt like my leg was going back down onto my bed. Like they were like, oh, sorry, man. Like, we're not going to do this. We won't bug you. You're tired.
You need your sleep. We'll get you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh, my God.
I'm gonna get to this question from Jules because she wants me to tell you a story about our location in the forest where last year we actually had voices trying to lure us into the forest.
Really?
So this spot that I investigate is about 25 miles deep into the forest. I live in a community of like 2,500 people. There are not a lot of people who go out in the forest that deep in the evening or night. Because I'm stupid that way. Okay. Like never mind just the monsters, but the bears and the moose and the cougars and the wolf packs. So why not? Why not go into the forest, right? Long story short, last year, my research partner, Tim, and I were just sitting on our lawn chairs, relaxing. And all of a sudden, something maybe 15, 20 feet to my right swooshes through the trees. And this swooshing sound only lasted maybe a second and a half. But it was enough to set off the squirrels. I don't know what it was. It was enough to set off the squirrels and the chipmunks, though, in the area that started going absolutely crazy. And John, as I jumped out of my chair, having an embolism there, all of a sudden off in the distance, we start hearing a woman's voice, very monotone. Help me. I'm over here. Can you help me? And she kept repeating the same words. And at first, Tim didn't hear it. I'm like, no, Tim, like you got to focus in. Just keep quiet, focus in your hearing. And he started hearing it too. And she kept on repeating, help me. I'm over here. Help me. And so I looked at Tim and I said, we're not going over there. That is something where if we go over there, we will not come back.
You might regret it.
Yeah. And then how I knew it wasn't human was it said, help me. I love you.
Help me. I love you.
Yeah. Then shortly after that, like I'm talking seconds after that, it changed to a man's voice. Help us. We're over here. Can you help us? And it was moving through the trees. You couldn't hear it moving through the trees, but let's just say if you're sitting at high noon, the original voice was at 4:00. Then it moved up to 3:00. It was getting pretty eerie out there, man. We didn't stay much longer after that, John.
Well, I don't blame you.
No way.
So what do you think it was?
I think it was either a skinwalker or a Wendigo. That's what I don't have any other understanding of what could do that. And
Yeah.
it's very weird. I don't want to see or hear that again. Right? But
Sure.
this is Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. Bill Funk, how you doing? Who else jumped in here? Half an hour to go, buddy.
Okay.
Right. Making sure I got all the questions from our audience. There we go. All good now, man. All good now. Just think, in 30 minutes, you get to go to bed.
Yeah.
John's like, come on. Beating the
Yeah.
hell out of time here.
I'll be thinking about somebody lifting my leg.
I'll tell you though, this year we had a voice out there that kept on repeating, "Let me hear you, let me hear you, let me hear you."
Wow.
That was kind of weird.
Do you record those?
We try to.
Yeah.
I wish last year I would have had. I bought a parabolic microphone.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have had it last year when this was going on.
Yeah, it would have been pretty good.
Because that would have been real cool when that happened.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. Well, I spent 4 days and 4 nights alone in the woods in Southeast Ohio, at a forest, a national forest, doing kind of a vision quest. And no shelter, no flashlight, nothing, just me. And it wasn't until after I got out of there that I found out that that was a place where there were frequent sightings of what we have, the Ohio grassman, which is basically a Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Little different variety, but
Yep.
I'm thinking, okay, great. I'm out here all by myself, sitting under a tree for 4 days and 4 nights without moving. And I got nothing.
I capped at my spot once. Never will do it again. Magnus, how you doing? And a big shout out to his friend Billy. Billy will give you a little tip of the cap there. And Niece 360, welcome to SOR chat. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We'd appreciate that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, John.
Yeah, I won't do it
Camping
again.
in the wilderness. You know, my name's not Lee Strauss. I'm not extra small. You know. So we got about a minute to go here. Contrary One, how you doing? Yeah, the Estes method was scary. Have you ever done the Estes method, John?
Yeah, oh yeah, the ear thing. Is that what you're
The
talking about?
blindfold and the hearing.
Oh no, I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, you take a blindfold. put noise canceling headphones on so you can only hear the signal of a radio station and you're trying to communicate with the spirits in real time, but you have somebody on the other side that you can't hear who's asking questions. You can't hear the questions. It's kind of cool.
Huh.
All right, we're coming back in 25 seconds. Thank you, Claudette. Thank you, T-Bound. And thank you, Scoosound, for the super chats. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For you, T-Bone. You know what I'm talking about. Here we go in 3 seconds. This is the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. I'm Dave Scott. Final half hour tonight with our good friend John Kachuba. You want to get his books at his website, johnkachuba.com. That's K-A-B. I'm already spelling it wrong. K-A-C. I got to learn my alphabet. It's C after B. K-A-C-H-U-B-A. johnkachuba.com. There we go. I got it out, John.
You got it.
Audience questions. We're into it now. Let's get going. Joe is asking, everyone is afraid of skinwalkers. The question is, what kind of pointy stick do you use to take out a skinwalker?
A very strong one. I have no idea what kind of pointy stick you use to take out a skinwalker. Is that a thing? I don't even know.
Well, a pointy stick, because it's YouTube, is another word for a boom boom stick. A pew pew, you know.
Oh, gotcha.
I got it.
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha.
There we go.
Pointy stick. I've never heard that term before.
Yeah. The algorithms don't like the word gun. Just like they don't like the word dead.
Mm-hmm.
So you get this unalived crap, like we're too immature to be using such words like death and dead.
I agree.
Right? Ridiculous, the censorship. What do you do? What do you do? All right. Let's move on. John, do you think Hat Man is a shapeshifter?
Hat Man? Or I don't know who. Is that you, Dave?
No, it's not. I promise you it's not. Hat Man is a shadow person that wears like a large fedora, very thin, you know, and allegedly tries to take people.
I don't know that one. That's a new one on me.
If you don't, you don't.
No, where's it come from?
All over. Originally, here's an interesting story about Hat Man. Originally, Hat Man was a creepypasta story.
Okay.
And it ended up getting a little bit bigger. And bigger. And now people see him. I think a lot of these creatures, John, speaking of that, I think a lot of these creatures we have created because the human mind can be a very powerful thing. You know, it's like the old legend of saying Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times, and then all of a sudden bad things are going to happen. Right?
Yeah.
How does that happen? People who believe, people who've put energy into it. Same as Ouija boards. Let's go to this question here. You think Krampus, because you brought up Krampus earlier, is a shapeshifter?
Not to my knowledge. Is it? As far as I know, he's just I don't know, you want to call him, I guess you'd call him a demon, you know, but I don't think he's a shapeshifter. I haven't heard anything about him about a shape-shifting Krampus, but I'll look it up and see.
You're an ex-paranormal investigator. You still dabble a little bit, you know, a little sprinkle on the side, maybe a little dessert ghost busting kind of thing. You know, what's the scariest encounter you've ever had with a ghost?
Wow, it's hard to say. I would say Well, it seems pretty. Well, I'll just tell you the story. You can tell me what you think. I was investigating a house with another guy in Brooksville, Florida, and the house is a historical society museum. It was the home of a doctor, and it was built like early 1800s. Doctor lived there during the time of the Civil War and after. Long story short, it is now a historical museum. It's got all old furniture in it and all this kind of stuff. And people have had weird experiences there. Like, for instance, they had these Victorian toys, which are like kind of cast iron, like horse-drawn fire trucks made out of cast iron. And they had them locked in a cabinet that you could look at, display cabinet. During the morning, the docents would come in and find the cabinet open, and they'd find the toy like, 2 rooms away or something. They had cradle with a doll baby in it. And the same thing, they found the dolls. Actually, they found the cradle broke and the doll in another room on the next day when they come in. They've seen people, windows, in the windows, alarms go off in the place all the time. So the short is that the society, the historical society, and the docent asked me to come in with another guy from Tampa. And we were trying to find out if there was a ghost there. People believe that it was the ghost. There was a ghost of a little girl named Lily, who was the daughter of the doctor that lived there many years ago, 1870s, 1880s. Lily was born when Lily's mother gave birth. The mother died in childbirth. And then Lily developed some kind of either typhoid or yellow fever, something pretty common in those days, and died when she was about 3. And so they believe that Lily's haunting the location, and that's why the toys are always out. It's funny, I would think the mother might be too. But in any case, I was there with this investigator, and we kind of just walked around different rooms. Stuff was very quiet. We were there all night long, and it was like preternaturally quiet. It was like a heavy quiet. It just didn't seem right. And the funny thing is, right across the street was like this biker bar, and all night long there's bikes going up, up and down, and all this noise and stuff. But the minute we closed the door in the house and we came in, it was like quiet. Like, wow. What kind of soundproofing did they have in the 1800s, but nothing was going on. And so it was about 3 o'clock in the morning or something. And the supervisor of the house said, okay, well, I guess nothing's happening. They say it's unfortunate because we get all this activity. And the minute I call you guys in, it stops. We said, well, that's kind of what happens sometimes. So we lock up everything. We start setting alarms in the house. And as we go out, the only door we can go out now through is the kitchen. And in the kitchen there was all this old furniture, old kitchen stuff. So like a wood burning stove. And it had on it, laying across the top, was this like wrought iron hook, maybe about that long, about 18 inches, something like that, maybe 2 feet. And it had some weight to it. And the idea was that when that lid got hot, you would take
John, we're losing you on your signal here, my friend. I think you're frozen up on us.
Oh.
Let's wait for that to kick on in. Yeah, the idea that there are so many different aspects of all of this. I mean, you have to wonder the realities of this. And I don't know if I've ever seen a shapeshifter, nor would I even know if I had. Like, I don't know if we would have that ability. I really don't. Or the discernment. John, are you with us again?
I think so. I mean, now well,
no, we still don't have.
This seems to be a Dave Scott issue, not a you issue.
Well, I'm saying I think I'm here.
You are. It's Dave that's having a problem currently. I'm just going to put myself back in the green.
We got John back here. John, it's good to have you here again. I think we're good to go.
I hope so.
Yeah, that was weird. We got a storm rolling in here. I think it might have been on my end and not yours.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. Or it's just the fact that we've been talking about some spooky things and
they
decided to invade the internet.
That's right. That's right.
You never know. Going back to your own haunted stories, that's what we were talking about here momentarily.
Yeah. I don't remember where, I don't know where we broke off.
The good part about it is we could restart that. We can.
Story. I would just say this, that we're in this haunted house in Florida that, had all this old furniture, Victorian furniture. It was a historical museum, myself and another investigator. And that as we were coming out of it, leaving, because we thought it was a bust. We thought the investigation was dead. There was nothing going on. And the supervisor of the house who was with us she said, yeah, I'm so sorry. There's so much activity in this. People always say things are happening, and we see things happening all the time. I bring you two guys in, and that's it. Nothing happens. I said, well, that happens. The ghosts don't perform on demand, So we're going out through the kitchen, and we pass this wood-burning stove that has this big metal disc on it with this long metal hook, maybe 2 feet long, and it's got some weight to it, The idea was that you would use that hook. When the stove got hot, you couldn't touch it, that lid, to throw more wood in. So you would take this hook, attach it to the lid, pull it off, drop wood in, slam the wood back on. So as we were going by, there's only 3 of us, and we had 1 flashlight. And we're almost belly to belly because it's dark in there. But out of the corner of my eye, I see this thing happen. I see the lid, the wrought iron bar on the surface lift up, and it does a 180. It does a complete 180. It's like 2 feet long. It does a 180 and then falls off onto the floor. And it did it with violence. I mean, I can't do it here to, reconstruct the sound or anything, but it slammed metal to metal. And we just all stopped and said, whoa. And we said the stupid thing. Did you see that? Well, yeah, we all saw it. That was something that defies science. We tried to recreate it. We picked it up and we said, well, did we brush against it? And did we maybe knock off or something? No, we couldn't figure it out. And so when you get something like that, it defies all the laws that I know of science, right? I mean, physically, a 2 foot iron bar is not going to flip over by itself with violence, with force. So anyway, the supervisor said, well, that was the little girl who was the haunting. Miss Lily said she wanted to let us know that she was here and she's saying goodbye. I said, oh, okay. But I mean, that was pretty weird. It was, you say scary. And I think what I found out is that when things happen like that, it's not so much terrifying or scary because you're so surprised by it and amazed by it that you don't even really think about fear. I mean, sometimes later when you reflect on it and you go, oh, what was that? I mean, was there a ghost wielding that thing? Was he trying to hit us or something? Was it throwing it at us? I don't know. But it was pretty awesome to have that happen. And we all saw it, eyewitnesses. Of course, by that point, we had closed the investigation. So we had our cameras put away, our recorders put away, everything packed up, and we're walking out like that. And that's when it happens.
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When you're going through a paranormal situation like that, you always get that profound, did you see that? Because there is this shock and awe when something strange does happen.
Right.
How do you decipher if it's paranormal or if it's something natural?
Well, I think that's where you have to do do research and do some testing. So in this case, we could not come up with any logical reason for that to happen. Like I say, it defied laws of physics or laws of gravity or anything that we knew. Things just don't fly up like that by themselves, as far as we know. So then it becomes paranormal because that simply means something out of the normal, something we don't understand. But I'm reluctant to say that because it's paranormal, it's a ghost. Well, maybe it could be. I mean, that could be one of the reasons. But it could also be maybe there's just some kind of force in the universe or something that we don't know that did that. In the Renaissance, they didn't know about radio waves, right? Microwave. Who would ever thought you can put bread in a box or something and push a button and it comes out as toast? I mean, come on. We didn't have that technology. We didn't understand that thing. So, I mean, even when I think about when colonists came to the New World, the first time native people are seeing these big birds, as they thought, some big sea birds floating in on them. They didn't know what a ship was. They hadn't seen those before. So, we learn. But I still have not been able to come up with a reason for what we experienced.
Would you want it to happen again?
Yeah, I would. Well, and if I could replicate it, then it's not paranormal, right? If I could do it. But if suddenly it did it by itself again, I have to say, okay, what's going on?
John Kachuba is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Paranormally speaking, what do you think a ghost is?
There's a couple of explanations. I mean, one is that you actually kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, that it's something that we, not necessarily in relation to ghosts, but something that we create ourselves in our own minds. I think of an example, if somebody very, very close to you, somebody you've loved for a long time, very close, they pass away. And you go through this intense mourning period, grieving, right? After a while, you feel a little bit better and you say, well, okay, it's Uncle Joe. It's time for me to go clean out Uncle Joe's apartment. I've been delaying doing that. I didn't want to do that, but I got to do it. So you go in there, you open the door, and there's Uncle Joe sitting in his favorite easy chair. And he kind of gives you a little smile, and then poof, he's gone. Well, what was that? And I ask that of audiences when I do my talks about ghosts. I say, how many of you had an experience like that with somebody that a loved one, like especially a family member? How many of you have seen one after they died? You'd be surprised how many hands go up. So now the question is, you saw that. How did that happen? And I think that what happens is, I think there's like a psychic bond among people, especially family members, and that somehow you brought him back. It wasn't a hallucination. I think that in some ways you actually physically brought Uncle Joe back for a brief second. That bond was still there, but it doesn't last. And that was it. And then he's gone, and you never see him again. And actually, these people that have responded in the positive during my speeches, my talks, say the same thing, that yeah, it happened once and that was it, and we felt better. So that's one explanation. That is something that maybe we actually create with our own mind. Another explanation is that if you think of quantum physics, we know it's no longer a universe, but it's a multiverse. There's an infinite number of verses, if you will, right? All kind of at the same place, at the same time, on top of each other. It's everything at once. So there's kind of levels. The spiritualists talk about levels of energy and different beings and different levels. And that's kind of like a multiverse. So could it be that under some occasion, in the right circumstances, and I don't know what they would be, that we are able, or maybe some of us are able, to get a glimpse into another realm, another dimension, and that at the same time, somebody in that dimension gets a glimpse into ours. So we say, "Oh my God, a ghost!" And on their side, they say, "Oh my God, a ghost!" And then it breaks and it's gone. Then the third thing is just the classical, that it's the spirit or soul or life energy or life force, whatever you want to call it, that many people believe is eternal and goes on. And if it goes on, then is it possible that it might, as I mentioned before, the strong psychic bond, is it possible that some people can connect to that, and that would be a ghost too? So, I mean, those are some examples of some ideas about what a ghost might be.
3.5 minutes to go with John Kachuba tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I always wonder if we're connecting to a different dimension, or if we are connecting to, our mums, dads, grandparents, aunts, uncles, favorite people in the world. I still don't like tempting it, even though I do it quite often. I try not to tempt it and have like deep intellectual conversations, because I don't think that's possible. But it is still fun. Oh, I do have to admit that there is some fun to it, John.
Yeah. And I do believe that, especially in families, I do believe there's a strong connection that doesn't necessarily end at death. And I don't know what that connection is. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but I think it's there.
Where do you think we go? You ever thought about that?
Sure. I don't think we go, well, okay. I have a feeling that I'm not very religious. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. So the idea of a soul, like in the Christian concept, I don't buy. But I do believe that there's something eternal within all of us, a life force, a source, something that I think may go on. And I think it goes back to where it came from. We all go back to the same place, which, the Buddhists talk about a cosmic mind. And I kind of believe that this is a consciousness kind of thing. And I think maybe we go back up into that, kind of like on a computer where everything goes up, everything's in the cloud. We don't even know what the cloud is. We can't see it, we can't touch it. And yet we know that there's a bunch of stuff up there, right? So I kind of think that there might be this psychic cloud for human beings, and that there's millions of us up there right now. We don't know up there, like as if it's heaven, right? I don't know where it would be, But a lot of neuroscientists today believe that consciousness isn't even inside us, but consciousness is outside us, and that we tap into it from our brain, but it's not in, it's out, which kind of buys into what I'm saying, what the Buddhists are saying.
1 minute to go. I want to say a big thank you to you for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. It's always a good time to have you here. When do you think you're going to get your next book out?
Oh, December. No problem answering that, right? Well, I have a historical novel coming out in December called Thrown Away. And then the next book, well, my Shapeshifters, I should say this, it's being re-released because the publisher went through their inventory of hardcover. So they're re-releasing the book as a paperback in December. It'll be December in America and September in Europe and maybe in Canada. I'm not sure. But so it'll be 2 books. So Shapeshifters is back, will be back again. If you go on Amazon right now and take a look at it, you're going to see the hardcover. It's going to be like $90 or something because, there's none left. The paperback will be available, let's call it September, December. You can pre-order it on Amazon. And then Thrown Away will be out in December as well. So,
John Kachuba, everybody. Thank you, John, for coming on in. Up next, we got Swamp Dweller and Extra Small Lee Strauss.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
John, thank you so much, my man.
Thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure. It was fun.
Always is a pleasure to chat with you. We'll do it again, okay?
Sure. Just give me a buzz.
All right, buddy.
You take
care. Have a great night.
Yep.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now. Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, let's get ready for Extra Small. Lee Strauss coming on in. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man.
I saw that hike you went on.
Oh,
That's
boy.
a big freaking nope for me.
That was some pain. Oh, my gosh. Well, I couldn't do it either. Couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
I was not prepared, my friend. Was not prepared.
All right. For our chat room, for Lee and I, it's going to be Ask Us Anything. Put your questions in capital letters. Swamp Dweller is 6.5 minutes. Here we go. This is the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Rocking and rolling. We got Swamp Dweller and Extra Small Lee Strauss coming in here momentarily. But first, I want to say hello to all of you tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Varsal. Varsal is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. I live in the foothills of western North Carolina, near the base of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I used to live higher up in the mountains for a few years and hated it. So I wouldn't say I liked the woods with a burning passion, but yet I don't hate them, I guess. Recently, I've moved back in with my folks in their cabin surrounded by the woods. The land my family owns stretches across 15 acres of woodland. Now, these are the woods I grew up in. Despite my typical aversion to nature, I feel safe in them. I climbed the trees, splashed in the creek, and played with stick swords when I was a kid. These woods are home to me, except for the area behind the backyard. Our cabin is on a steep hill that slopes down for about a half a mile. Eventually, it bottoms out on a creek down in the woods. The halfway point between the house and the stream is a little patch of woods, right behind the fenced-in area around the house. It's always in the shade, with no thick undergrowth, just trees, Carolina red clay, piles of leaves, the usual. But it feels bizarre down there in a way that I cannot explain. I feel very unwelcome, out behind the house for some reason. And I'm not the only one. My parents avoid it too. Even our pets, past and present, have always steered clear of it. So I will list some experiences that might get my point across better. The first experience was when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and one summer I thought I'd try camping in the backyard. So I set up my family's new tent and loaded it up with an air mattress and a pile of blankets, Copper, my beloved dear Stuffy, and some comic books. I wanted to be excited about it, but I felt uneasy even before the sun went down when my mom was helping me set up my little camping trip. The shady patch of woods around the backyard was just weird, but I was a kid, so I figured, F it. I'm 20 feet from the house, I'll be fine. I got set up for the night, stayed up reading comics, and felt like an outdoorsman, and it had barely gotten dark when I began hearing loud, rhythmic crunching in the woods. Behind the backyard, not too far from where I was, like something big was walking in circles around the undergrowth. We don't have bears in my neck of the wood. Besides, whatever it was walking on 2 legs. It never tried to approach the backyard, even as I sat there with Copper just listening to it. It just kept walking. I barely lasted an hour in that damn tent before running inside and getting into my bed. The second one is a little interesting. My mom's an avid gardener and decided she would put together 4 or 5 raised gardening beds in the backyard for herbs and veggies. This was when I was 11, so naturally I was roped into helping. We spent the first part of the day putting them together and getting them started. Then I noticed that we would get edgy and irritable back there. We're best friends and never fight, but we'd be snapping at each other constantly raising that damn garden. I also noticed that the backwoods behind our house were deathly quiet for the first time. Playing music or talking didn't make a difference. It was like that kind of silence that pressed in on you, and it's always just exactly the same back there. The beds thrived for a little while, but my mom always asked me to come with her when she tended to them. I thought it was silly at the time. She told me that she couldn't be down there by herself when I got older. She'd always wait until I was home from school before checking on them because she felt uneasy and unwelcome. Eventually, we would just abandon the project altogether. The raised beds are still down there, by the way, just rotting away in the undergrowth. Since middle school, I haven't checked on them, and I'm 23 now. This last experience I will share, in my opinion, is the creepiest. The time I asked my mom to cut my hair, we were poorer then, so Mom just gave me a nice, twice-monthly trim rather than go to a salon. It was late spring and warm, so she suggested that we cut it in the backyard for an easier cleanup. Was I maybe 13 or 14 at this point? I don't really remember correctly, so I'm just going to go with either 13 or 14. So we ventured down. I brought a stool and diligently sat while she cut my hair. Side note, my mom has always cut my hair, so she is very good at it, and she doesn't make mistakes. This is important. As she worked and we talked, I noticed an old familiar feeling of unease. We were not welcome back there. The trees that stood still and shadowy despite the brilliant sunny day just sucked all of the energy away. I remember that it felt cold, very cold. My mom finished up my haircut and I shook off the extra debris to let her admire her handiwork. She stepped around in front of me, angled my head this way and that, and said it looked good. 3 things happened in rapid succession. First, I felt this squeeze of pressure on my lungs like I couldn't breathe. It was such a weird sensation that I froze. All of the uneasiness of the atmosphere pressed in on me all at once. Second, my mom got this odd, vacant look on her face. I remember her smile fading and her eyes going a little glassy like she was lost in thought. And then she reached out with the scissors, still making this blank expression, and snipped a deep cut into the skin right above my eye. I freaked out, screaming. I jumped off the stool and backed away. At the same time, she seemed to gather herself again, and she was almost in tears. She repeatedly apologized, not even bothering to take anything with us as we ran back to the house to treat the cut and stop the bleeding. I still have a little scar there, and she's never forgiven herself for it. There wasn't even any hair hanging over my eye either. I had a pixie cut at the time. So yeah, these are a few weird experiences that make me avoid the backyard now. I haven't even been down there in 7 or 8 years, but now that I'm living here again, I sometimes investigate the backyard and feel that weird shudder of apprehension. What's the deal? Why don't we feel welcome in the 50 square foot patch of land we own? Why is it so dark and quiet in this one spot? I have no idea, but my parents and I work around it and pretend that it's not there.
Thank you, Swampy, for another creepy, spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every night. So let's make sure that we get. All right. Time for lead.
They call him extra small, but he's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens are laughing while they're cruising by. Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call? He's the legend of Element 115. Here on Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
Extra small Lee Strauss, thank you for coming on in tonight. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, Dave. I really am.
Are you a baseball fan?
No, I do not watch sports of any kind.
Really?
No, it's a waste of my time.
I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a huge sports fan.
Yeah,
I am.
know.
I know you know. I know the audience knows. I'll tell you why I asked that.
Okay.
One of my favorite sports movies ever is Field of Dreams.
Oh, yes.
And they literally had a game between Philadelphia, and I think it was Minnesota, at the ballpark in Iowa on the same farm, where they had the players coming out of the corn before the game. They did this entire pregame ritual about, just like the movie with the players coming out. They had, first off, they had a bunch of Hall of Famers come out, 26 of them. Then the ball players came out, and oh man, it's just so romantic. I love baseball as much. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. And this may shock you, Lee, because I'm a big hockey guy. Big hockey guy. If God said to me one day, I'll give you one opportunity. You can play one game in the NHL or one game in baseball. What would you choose? I would choose baseball. I know that sounds weird. I would choose baseball because there's something really, really cool and romantic and stoic and timeless about baseball. The smell of the ballpark, the smell of the field, just the feeling of it all. I would choose
has
baseball.
Its own majesty.
It does. It does. And I think if you go back to the whole Field of Dreams aspect of everything, I think it really glorifies that if there is a heaven somewhere, there's a baseball game going on there where you can get your cup of beer, bag of peanuts, a hot dog, and maybe even a corn on the cob to eat while you watch your favorite players play. That's where I want to go, man.
I would be down for that, Dave.
You and me. How about that?
Yeah,
I'd
now,
like because we're still much alive.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see the Mariners play again. The old Mariners, right? With Lou Piniella,
Oh, Jay Buhner.
Oh, yeah. And, and the unit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the big unit, Ken Griffey Jr.
Jr., there you go.
Oh,
yeah.
I still think if he could have stayed healthy, he would have beat Barry Bonds in home runs. I really do.
Yeah.
Right? I really do think. I loved Ken Griffey Jr., probably my favorite baseball player ever.
Ichiro's up there for me too.
Ichiro's massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Ken Griffey Jr., that beautiful swing that he had, I don't think anybody since probably, if I were to say that beautiful swing, I would say Shohei Ohtani is probably the only one who has a swing as nice as Ken Griffey Jr.'s. It's kind of amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyways, enough about that. Real boring week in the UFO world. I think that there is some how can we put it? Reticence. I'm going to use the word reticence. After Tranche 5 came out a week ago, not a lot of people happy about it, Lee. The only people who are happy about it is the same people who are involved in all the alphabet agencies that are now a part of all these UFO disclosure groups. And, you know, they make it easy for trolling. They do. They make it very easy for trolling. And I'm wondering if this subject, because of the lack of evidence on the public side, is literally starting to waver, and it's starting to wane a little bit, that people are just fed up with everything. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, people are getting fed up with it. Even though there was some David Grush, for instance, talking about certain things this last week, which were amazing, that he has seen photos of things and video of things. But once again, we don't get to see that stuff, and we're probably not going to be able to anytime soon. So it does seem like people are getting more fed up and more fed up. And, it's just like everything else that has come out lately within the last couple of years, the Epstein stuff, just everything. It seems like we get to a certain point and then we're up against a wall. And I have to wonder where that's coming from.
Do you think then, by the sounds of what you're saying, you think it's all tied together? You think it's tied that this could be a cover up for something bigger, whether it's Epstein or Iran or whatever else is going on?
I don't know that it's a cover up. I just don't think the government that we think controls everything is in control of everything. And we get this little chunk of the pie for all these different things, but we never hear about the whole thing. I mean, the latest thing now is the whole COVID-19 thing that's coming out, right? And that's been in the news lately. But the whole thing is we're never going to know the whole story. We're only going to hear this little part, and it's going to leave everybody asking questions for how long. I have no idea, but I don't think it's coming out with this president, and I don't think it's coming out with the next one either.
I don't think it's coming out with any president. I really don't. I don't think it's coming out with any president. I don't see it happening.
Okay, part of the big thing with this, the whole UFO discussion, is that we have private companies in control of so much of this stuff, right? It's like the guy who built the carburetor for a car to run 100 miles, or the light bulb that never burns out. It seems like once companies get a control of something, we are never going to have the opportunity to know the truth or to have the equipment and the tools that they do.
It is something that is, how can you put it? It is something that is a part of the controversy of what we are seeing going on right now. Story time is a lot more vivid than the evidence. Right?
It is. And that's not going to change anytime soon, right? We're going to hear fantastical things from now to who knows when. But who's going to actually bring the cake to the party? That's what I want to know. I kind of have faith that somebody will release something. They will get it out somehow, and it's going to be spread, and it'll be spread like wildfire. But until that comes out, until that happens, we're kind of stuck. I mean, we see these drops of people's emails or people's texts on their phones and these sorts of things. This is the kind of drop that we're looking for, is something tangible with background and people that they've talked to and discussions that they've had and on and on and on and on. But we haven't got that yet, right? It's more or less people coming forward and saying, hey, everybody, I talked to so-and-so and they worked on these craft, or they, were trying to resuscitate a body of an ET and that sort of thing. But we aren't seeing the background. Somebody's got to leak something.
But then you get David Grush on Dr. Phil saying, oh yeah, we've seen the bodies. We've got live ones here. We got it all. Where? Show us.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well,
those people, I'm all about the woo. Okay. I'm all about, Lee, enjoying somebody's telling of their encounters. I love that, because real people, for the most part, don't have a position or the what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have the position to lie about this subject unless they are really, really looking for attention.
They don't. That's right. They don't have anything to gain by releasing information. Hey, I was abducted by ETs. One of my coworkers saw me on here talking to you, Dave, and now it's spread out all over the place. I mean, how does that look? Right? The stories are great. But people can really hurt their careers by coming out and talking about their stuff. They can.
Absolutely. And, for the most part, I can say, what have I done? In 11 years, I've done over 2,000 shows. I can think of maybe a couple, less than a handful, that have tried to pull the wool over our eyes by just acting complete and presenting complete BS. The majority of experiencers out there, they're not worried about anything to do with the technologies. They're not worried about the government. They're not worried about government disclosure or confirmation. They're not worried about psionics or coming up with different terms like UAP or NHI. They have one question on their mind, and that is, why me?
Mm-hmm.
What did I do to deserve this? Why me?
Right.
Because believe it or not, alien abduction, whether you have a good experience or a bad experience, it's still traumatic. If you see a Bigfoot right in front of you or a dogman in front of you, it's traumatic. You have a paranormal experience where you got a ghost charging at you down your hallway. It's traumatic. Poltergeist activity. People just want to know, why me?
Mm-hmm.
And they are willing to tell you why they want to know this answer, because whatever happened to them traumatized them. They're not worried about David Grush. They're not worried about Lou Elizondo or Dr. Phil becoming the new face of the media franchise in UFOs by taking us way back to 2017 again.
Yeah.
They just want to know, why me? That's it. It's not that hard. But you notice every time we start to get ahead, there's a new name or a new face of the franchise that takes us back to 2017, right back to the start of everything, where we got to break down the videos of Tic Tacs, Gimbal, Go Fast, everything like that.
That's maddening. That makes people want to quit and say, you know what? I've been interested in this stuff for so long, but how many times do I have to see the video? I'm done. I'm completely done.
It doesn't matter whether it's Dr. Phil, Dan Farah, the movie producer, or anybody. Can we just get done with 2017 and move forward to 2026? soon to be 2027, a decade late. Lee Strauss continues with us after this.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
I do have a theory on why David Grush did talk about things so much and why he kind of opened the doors to some new things and talked about freely. Yep. There was only a couple times where he mentioned, well, I can't talk about where exactly these, but I will say they are in the West, right? As far as the UFOs and stuff like that. But he did mention some things that I thought were surprising, and I haven't a theory of why.
Well, save that for the show.
Okay. All right.
Wait until we're back. Then you can get into that all you want. Oh. I've had this hangnail on my toe all show.
Oh, God.
All show. I finally just got it.
Oh, thank God, huh?
Now my toenail is bleeding, but I got it. I'll lose a little blood in order to gain success in that the fact that I won.
You know what's the scariest thing is now your feet are going to be under the covers rubbing on that spot. Your covers are going to rub on that damn thing. You better put a Band-Aid on it.
I will put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I could
Don't
just
you love
feel
it?
that.
Chatters in our YouTube chat. Don't you love it when people come in here into our chat room? We've had a couple of wackadoos tonight.
Oh, have you?
When they come in and they're going to start dropping, all the weird garbage that we absolutely hate in our chat room, or at least I do because it's my chat room.
Yeah. Yeah.
That used to be nuts.
Yep. The naysayers are, oh my gosh, the naysayers on Facebook that I feel like I need to respond to all the time. And all they're trying to do is get your goat, right? And get responses. They may say something outlandish and it draws you into the conversation. And that's all they're trying to do is draw you in. So.
Yeah. Even like on my feed recently, like if we deal with like Canadian politics, I'm getting hammered from the left and the right on my feed right now. And it's kind of like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm so over it.
Yeah.
I just don't care. And I wish both sides would stop the yeah buts and let's just get our fucking country back to where it needs to be. I don't care who's leading it. Right?
Yeah, I feel you there, my friend. I really do. I feel you there. We're splitting all sorts of ways right now down here.
Oh, I know. I'm watching. Lex Diaz, how you doing? And I'll be honest with you. That's why I hate it when people come into our chat room for the first time and are going to be dropping, their political bombs, thinking that this is just a free reign chat room, or talking about Epstein or pedophiles or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I hate that crap. Like, have a modicum of respect to come into a chat room and say hello. This is who I am. Right?
My first time here. This is where I'm from.
Absolutely. Instead of dropping, the BS politics and all of this, like, piss off. Right? I'm sorry, but piss off.
Really, this space that we're in is a space for us to come together, not throw out some.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And dude, I'm so worn out. Honestly, I'm so worn out right now,
Mm-hmm.
just with everything in life.
I get it.
And I can't handle it. I can't handle it. You know, I find myself just trying to escape my own mind half the time, you know, because I'm tired of the lack of critical thinking in this world. I'm tired of he said, she said in politics. I'm tired of seeing things that I grew up with that were so perfect, that are changed for no reason now.
Yeah.
And I'm just beat up, man. Holy cow. Anyways, we're coming back here in 5 seconds. This is the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Extra small Lee Strauss hanging on out with us. Oh, Lee, I slapped my hat back on my head and it popped off the sizer on the back. Holy cow. You know?
Maybe it's your twin coming in finally.
Oh, my goodness. Or I got a giant goiter growing on the back of my head. Whatever it is. You wanted to talk about Dr. Phil and David Grush.
Yeah, you know, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised with the conversation, you know, and David Grush talking about the different types of aliens and the fact that there was live ones and there's dead ones and there's videos and there's pictures and there's this and there's that and there's these different crafts and all of this stuff. He kind of cut loose a little bit. And I think it's because he can see what's going on and he's been paying attention with what's happening. And the fact that Arrow isn't doing anything at all. So I almost feel like he believes that he is like almost the head of the spear to get this stuff out right now, because it has fallen in the fifth, you know, with the fifth tranche and how everybody's feeling about it and how it just seems to be a malaise starting to happen across the whole board with everybody. And him coming out and saying what he said and talking to Dr. Phil about the stuff that he did during his interview, I feel that he was like, okay, let's try to kick this into high gear a little bit. You know, I'm going to be more truthful. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? It seems like maybe he's trying to push it ahead, and maybe there's somebody behind him that said, okay, you can talk about more things now. So maybe this is something, a part of this is something that we can almost say, okay, so we got something happening over here. We're over here with these tranches. We're kind of getting this malaise. So we are moving forward, even though it's not with these tranches.
How do you move forward, though, if you can't talk about or show evidence of what you're talking about?
Because you're giving the people new information, right? For and what this does for people is you hear this information about the different types of aliens and that they have, you know, video and photos of live ones and dead ones and how they were able to communicate, you know, mentally to people. This helps people dream, right? This helps people like think about Star Trek and just the possibilities that are out there, the wondrous possibilities that are out there that we have not yet achieved or gotten to that place. But it spurs the activity on, it spurs the mind on. And that's what we desire. We desire it so much.
Oh, I understand the desire. I think the desire is absolutely great. But my big thing is this. As I said in the last half hour, I never really finished what I was going to say because I went off on a tangent. I apologize. If it's you or me or any one of our audience speaking, telling us their story, their encounter, what they experienced, I believe that. I believe it. How many times, Lee, have you been approached by somebody on Facebook or even in person or Instagram, wherever, said, hey, I got to tell you this story. They'll send you a private message. It's happened a lot. Okay. Happens to me a couple times a week.
And how many of those people have you had on your show?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But when you look at the government aspect of this, where we have government people who are trying to control a narrative, that are trying to control what comes out, what doesn't. How do we believe them? When they sit there like David Grush on Dr. Phil, talking about all of this magnificent technology, magnificent creatures that we are in contact with, they're already here, everything like that. But I can't say where, can't say who, can't say how. Trust me, bro. Trust me. I think when you are in a government position, there should be an audit on what should be going on here. Telling us where, how, why, and everything in between. Okay? Because if you're working for the government to push this forward, you're dealing with people who are paying your salary. The people like you, Lee, like me, like everybody who is listening right now. And if you are saying this for the American people, but you're not willing to go that extra mile and tell us where they are, how many are hidden, how long have they been here, whatever secrets you have, we don't need any more dang gummits from Tim Burchett. As much as I like the guy, we don't need any more. We don't need any more biblical quotes from Anna Paulina Luna regarding the phenomena. We don't need Eric Burleson in front of the camera saying, damn it, I'm mad and I'm not going to take it anymore. Yes, you are. You're a congressperson talking UFOs. You're going to take it every time because it gets you votes. There's no responsibility or accountability from the government side. And it's their responsibility. Okay. It's like poker. Lee, if you go all in and I call you, you have to show me your cards because you've been called. But in this case, when it comes to UFOs, you go all in, I call you, and we're still waiting for you to show your cards on whether you're going to winning hand or you're bluffing.
Dave, do you like validation? Do you like to be validated?
I do.
Okay. So something that you know, the ETs talk to people through some sort of telepathy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you not validated when you watched David Grush this last week?
No.
I was.
And I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you that you got
and
that.
So many other people were too, because of what they know and what they've experienced in their own encounter, right? I don't think we should look past that. The validation that is coming out for things that we already know.
Could be. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm frustrated.
Yeah. I totally understand the frustration. Believe you me, I've got that same frustration. But alongside with that frustration that we're having, that it's kind of gotten into this malaise, is the validation too. For me, that's incredible. And for thousands of other people that have, dealt with this subject.
The validation is easy for us because we've experienced it. The majority of people that they are trying to win over have not.
Those people probably won't watch the interview.
Or they could. They could.
Yeah.
Why not? It's interesting.
It is interesting. This is true. It is interesting. It's very interesting. But I just feel we are getting something, even though it's something we already know. But it is validation in a way. That spurs me along. It makes me want to listen more. It makes me want to, perk my ears up a little more and pay attention to those things that are said. Of course, as soon as they talk about things that happened in the past in 2017, 18, the Tic Tac and stuff like that, of course, my eyes glaze over and they roll back in my head and hit my butt. So, because I can't, we're done with that. So we need to hope to God that we continue on this path, even if it's not coming out of the tranches. At least people are coming out and saying things. It's like rungs on a ladder and we're still climbing.
True. Very true. Before we continue, I got to tell you a funny story, Lee.
Okay.
So yesterday, I'm sitting at home, my phone rings. And lately I've been getting calls from a different country asking me to renew my contract with my cell phone provider, which isn't my cell phone provider.
Mm-hmm.
About a week ago, I got one, and this guy was like, "Hello, sir. We'd like would you like to upgrade your cell phone with Rogers?" I don't have Rogers. Okay, well, the plan is only this and all that. I said, I don't have Rogers, cell phone company up here. I said, Rogers does not work in my area. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. I said, the signal ends at this road. That's why I got rid of Rogers. Didn't want to, but I'm thinking, no, sir, there is signal there. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't. I guess I don't. And I just let him insult me a little bit because, I'm trying to prepare something. And then the jerk hangs up on me, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll get you next time. I'll get you next time. Yesterday was the day. I finished mowing my lawn. I'm sitting on my lawn chair outside, enjoying, I think I was playing a slot machine game on my cell phone. And my cell phone provider is Bell. My phone rings. Hello, sir. My name is so-and-so from Rogers Mobility. How are you today? Great. Oh, are you a Rogers client? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm going to waste his time. I'm going to waste his time. So what do? He goes, how much do you pay a month? Well, my bill is about $200 a month because I have a couple cell phones on my plan. And I pay for my dad's as well. That's one of the things. I couldn't afford, when you retire your parents, a lot of times you want to get them something, like some people can afford a car, their dream car or whatever. I can't do that. So I take care of my dad's cell phone. It's one thing that I can't afford to do. I'm like, well, I pay $28.64 a month. Oh, that is excellent. Excellent. But with Rogers, we have a new plan where we can get you on a new 2-year contract for only $22 a month. Really? Tell me about this. And so he starts going off, and I'm just asking stupid question after stupid question and answering all of his questions, giving him a fake name. I think my name I said was Stewie effin Wilson. And my email was Stewie effin Wilson at iCloud.ca, which doesn't exist. Giving him everything. What's your phone number? I don't know. You called it. Well, what's your address? Made up some address somewhere in British Columbia. I don't know where it is. And he's buying all of it. And I'm like, okay, this is getting good. This is getting good. And now think, Dave. Think, what can we do that's going to absolutely blow this guy's mind? Figured it out. And I waited for him because, you know, after you get through the initial person on the call center, then they send you to the boss. My boss has to sign off on this. So I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Yep. I've got the app downloaded. Yeah, I've got everything. Click. I hung up. Right? Because my plan wasn't in play. And I was scurrying, trying to get my plan in play here, Lee. I was scurrying. I was starting to panic a little bit because I knew I was running out of time because I was running out of things to say while my mind was on what kind of revenge can I get on these jerks that waste my time and try and rip people off of their money. And then it kicked in. Lee. He called me back again. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know what happened. You know, sometimes my phone disconnects. And do you have the app up? Yes. Now I can hear him getting frustrated. And just at that exact same time as he started to, I said, sir, 1 second. And I hit play on my computer. And what do I have going on? I have a certain adult website audio playing.
Nice.
Okay. And all he's hearing in the phone is bzzz. He's like, what's that? Oh, what do you mean? What's that? Oh, yeah. What's that? Bzzz. Right? And I'm like, hold on a second here, boss. Hold on. What'd you say? What's with my phone plan? Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. And I start playing this up. He goes, maybe I should call you back. No. I got time right now to talk to you. No, I got time. Right? Right. And I got him for about another 4 or 5 minutes, man.
Oh my God.
And finally he says to me a couple of times, he's like, maybe I should call you back. This doesn't sound like a good time. I'm like, oh, it's a great time right now. It's a great time. I'm like, you like that, honey? You like that? Is that the way you want it? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, sir. I'm a little busy right now. Dude, it was impressive. It was impressive. I was happy. I wasted about 25 minutes of their time, which means that there is some old lady or old man who is not getting scammed by these morons. I won. And I felt victorious. I swear to God, I lost about 7 pounds yesterday just because I was able to grow another 2 inches in height. My shoulders filled out more. I felt like a young man again. And yeah, I won, Lee. And I thought you would enjoy that story.
Yeah, because now I know what I'm be doing. I'm going to do the same thing.
Oh, dude, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. But you have to set them up, though.
Oh, yeah.
You have to set them up because you have to actually sound like you were interested and that they have your best interest at heart. Right?
Next time I need a new roof on my house, I'm telling you what.
Yeah. Right? You know? Or, I mean, you can do a lot of things, man. But that was just, I just thought, man, I could win this. I could win this. I love playing with those guys. I do. I love playing with those phone idiots trying to rip me off. Sometimes I don't have the patience for them because usually a lot of times when they call, when you're either working or maybe you're making dinner or into a hockey game or something like that. But when I'm free, that's when the fun begins. I never thought at 50 plus, I'm 53 now. I never thought at my age that I would enjoy pranking the idiots who are trying to steal money. But all I know is that I will do it again. It's that vigilante justice that feels really, really good. Right? And the weird part about it was, here's the weird part about it. Usually, those people who do that, they have very strong Indian accents.
Yeah.
My guys sounded exactly like you and me, with a hint of the Indian accent.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew. They didn't use some fake name. They didn't use a North American name. They were actually using their Indian names. But man, it felt good. It felt good to waste their time. And I'm sure they got a recording of that, which I'm sure they're enjoying hearing the bzzz, right? Oh, yeah. I won, Lee. I won.
Congratulations. I love it. Awesome.
You got to try it. And I encourage all of you to try it out too.
Yep. Well played.
Thank you, my friend. It sucks, though. You know what sucks about this show?
It's over.
It's over. It's over. We're about to wrap this thing up. Where did that go? Where did that go? Lee Strauss, thank you for being on Spaced Out Radio tonight, my friend. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show and end on a little bit of a fun note there as we say goodnight to Lee. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Extra Small.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody out there.
Uh-huh.
No. I was earlier. I was in the middle of putting my new roof rack on my Forerunner, and
I saw that.
I dropped one of the clips on the inside of the Forerunner down, and now I've got to pull the headliner tomorrow, and I'm not pleased about that.
Oh, I wouldn't be pleased either. I would say this isn't cool.
That's all right.
This isn't cool. Yeah, it's not cool.
No.
Not cool at all. Oh man. Here we go. 1 second here.
Somebody's buzzing.
Who's buzzing?
I don't know. My phone's buzzing.
Got a late night date?
No.
Sure.
Nope. Not making those mistakes again.
Is that your cameo line where you can say, "Hey, I'm Lee Strauss. Thank you for being a fan of mine. Let me tell you, I'm going to count to 147 slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, buddy. In 1 month, you will be here.
That's correct, my friend.
In 1 month, you will be here. I'm excited about that.
I will be there.
You and Jock Harmon.
Jacques
will be here. Good old Jacques. She'll be a guest on Thursday.
Oh, okay. So she's coming back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Well, we need some Jacques around here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
She's like one of us.
Yep. She is.
Big fan of hers. That thing still
She is. Oh, anyway, I'm gonna go crash.
Hey, you go. You've been up since like 2:30 in the morning. Don't forget, Lee, to say your prayers and eat your vitamins.
Drink my Ovaltine. Absolutely.
Exactly. You're old now, so. All right, buddy.
All right, man. Later.
All right. Big hi to Brian Dodd. How you doing? Deborah Rooney, we love you. Werewolf, how you doing? Who else came in here? Lenda, how are you, my friend? Moodens Mongol. Moodens. Anybody else? I think we're caught up. Think we are caught up. River Dog. Forgot to say hi to River Dog. I think we're good. Anybody else? Where are we here? Oh, finally. Holy cow. Taking forever. Thank you, T-Bone. All right, let's try this again. See if it's on there now. It is there. Yes. All right, give me 2 seconds here. I'll go here. All What you doing, Dave? Did I get that? No, hold on. Come on. Really? It's not what I did. Not what I did. Oh, man. We're still good. We're still good. I just need to do this here first. There we go. Copy. Paste. Then we go to there. Go there. Go there. And here. Here is where we go here. There we go. Save. Go there. Go there. Download. I'll show you what I do here. You guys can see, what the hell is Dave doing? Flat 6, how you doing? 11, 11, 11, 11. You tell him, Moodens. No point in telling me. You tell him. You respond to the number one show and night in the United States. I'm just happy that we're part of it a little bit. I really am. That works for me. All right, we'll go there. So the first thing that I have to do, share screen. There we go. This is my editing screen, my audio editing screen, right there. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to normalize that and bring it up. That'll jump the levels. Now, the beautiful part about going live to tape, what they call it, is you don't have to edit much. So right in here, I've timed it out that our segments are about 23, 24 minutes long. So I highlight those, I copy it over and paste it in here. This will be segment 1. And then see right here, that's the music playing at the beginning. So if I cut that air break right there, see that little space right there? I cut that out. And now listen. See, that's the start of the show. And then you know how I pause at the end when the music ends? That's that little pause right here. Right there. That's that part. Those couple of seconds. That way it gives me an idea of where I need to stop. So then we just name this one SOR1 and it saves. And just wait for that one to save. There we go. And I can X out of there because it goes into this little open file here. Like, see, there's SOR1 right there. But you can't see that. So then we go to the next one. Copy, paste, and then there's the beginning right here. That's the thunderclap right there. We go to the end right here. We cut it. That's segment 2. Walter's fun to work with. You never know what you're going to get each night. He's a perfectionist. Number 3 right there. Oh, maybe a little bit more. Right there. Right there. And eventually, you start to notice the music patterns, what they look like. I go from there. I don't know if this is boring the hell out of you or not, but whatever. I'm going to shut up and do my thing. All right, guys. Thank you tonight to T-Bone, Scoose, Claudette, T-Bone again, and Ice Baby. Appreciate it. Appreciate the super chats. Thank you for your love and support. I will see you all on Monday. We're going to work on getting Everett back up and running here soon. We're going to work on that. His power has been out the last few days due to the tornadoes in his area, but he's getting excited. So we got to get next week fully booked. We still got a few days to get covered on that one, but it's going to be a great week, everybody. A great week next week. Thank you for tuning us in. Love y'all. Have a great night, everybody. And we'll see you all on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.